Fort Smith really punches above its weight when it comes to restaurant eating. If you want to spend your money local, here's where I would do it. I'm going to rank my favorite places for their food and their use of space. And I'm sorry for some of the audio, I'm getting better as I learn. I don't have a formal grading system for this list, but there's a few things that I'm not grading these places on. Cultural or historical importance. This is for my food and dining experience only. Online reviews from others. This is just my personal experience. Anything too far outside of the city limits. Sorry Oklahoma, sorry Van Buren. Pasta Grill, this means you don't make the list. No chains with locations outside of the state of Arkansas. I don't have a spreadsheet made to objectively track this or anything. If your favorite restaurant is missing from the list, I'm sorry, there's too many restaurants in this town to make a fair top 10. Just be sure to yell at me in all caps down in the comment section if your favorite place is missing. Number 10, Nara Chicken. It's new to the area, but their food is on point. I haven't been to the Mediterranean, so I can't tell you if this food is authentic, but I spend a lot of time in Irving, Texas, and Nara can seriously hold its own against the dozens of Mediterranean places down there. My advice is to find something on the menu that you've never had before, and especially consider it if it's something that you don't even know how to pronounce. If you experiment, you'll be glad you did. And no matter what dish you choose, you absolutely must order their lentil soup as a side. Use of space. Nara Chicken is on the car-dependent Strode Grand Avenue, but they get points for having these pillars in front of the store that can be used as bike parking. Number 9. Three Girls Pho and Egg Rolls. If you lament the decline of the Great American Mall, Three Girls Pho and Egg Rolls is your perfect excuse to get back to our country's retail backbone. But I'm not putting them on this list just to include something from the mall. This place is legit on its own. Sadly, you can't just eat here once, because there's two must-have menu items. First, their namesake, the pho, and second, the pork banh mi sandwich. And in both cases, ordering at least one order of their dim sum is a requirement. Use of space. Three Girls is in the mall, which is basically a miniature city and everything that I stand for. The vast, barren parking lot outside of the mall could be put to better use, but once you're actually in the food court and ordering your food, this is exactly the type of thing Fort Smith needs more of. Number 8. Las Americas. Las Americas doesn't restrict itself to one type of cuisine, and it doesn't restrict itself to one location either. I've only ever been to the location in Chaffee Crossing, and I so far haven't found a bad item on the menu. If there's one thing we order more than anything, it's the pupusas. And it's not the excellent pupusas themselves that we enjoy so much, but the slaw that goes on top of them. And as far as main courses go, you just have to follow your heart because everything here is excellent. Like I mentioned before at Nara Chicken, if it's something you've never heard of before, try it first. Use of space. The Chaffee Crossing location is in a mixed-use development, which is illegal in most of Fort Smith. Fortunately, we're just outside of the city limits here, so the businesses are allowed to decide for themselves how many parking spaces they need or whether they should be allowed to have an apartment over their restaurant. There's also bike parking, a connection to our trail system, and many of their customers live upstairs, which takes cars off of our roads and fights traffic. The entire Heritage Village development gets a gold star. Number 7. AJs Oyster House. I actually listened to Elton Brown tell an audience of our neighbors that eating oysters in Arkansas would be a bad idea, but he has no idea what he's missing if he skipped out on dining at AJ's while he was here. For those of you worried about eating fresh seafood in a landlocked state, oysters can be farmed and safely eaten year-round in Arkansas. So if you haven't had oysters before, start here. And if you can't stomach a dozen on the half shell, try the Cajun corn dog or the gumbo. Use of space. As I mentioned in another video, AJ's is in a multi-use development with a fantastic use of space. There's no excess parking to speak of, but they're desperately in need of some bike parking. And the intersection of Grand Avenue and B Street is stressful to navigate as a cyclist during heavy traffic. Number 6. Neumeyer's Whippoorwill. Neumeyer's Rib Room expanded to their Whippoorwill location across the street, and it's been a success. Such a success, I hate to say, that they probably knocked out the Rib Room off this list. Listen, I've only been to Whippoorwill once, but it was an absolute delight. I ordered the chicken fried steak, and my partner ordered a chicken cheesesteak sandwich. And you know, normally when you order grilled chicken anything, it's kind of bland, but her sandwich was packed with flavor. And it's not just the food, but the ambiance is pure America. If I have a guest from out of state or country and want them to experience what our local cuisine tastes like, Neumeyer's Whippoorwill will be my new culinary ambassador. Use of space. This location has been a revolving door of businesses over the years, and new Meers will hopefully have some staying power. This is emblematic of the way that the businesses downtown are forced to subsidize their competition. We have a tax policy that encourages the businesses on Rogers to build gigantic parking lots with infrastructure costs higher than the tax revenue that their stores generate. And when those same parking lots cause traffic problems, the businesses downtown spend more of their tax dollars to help pay for more lanes and traffic lights for their own competition. We could use more bike parking downtown though. Number 5. River City Bistro. River City Bistro is Americana personified. I guess you could look at it and say it's a typical American sandwich shop, which is true, but they made this list and they're so high on it because of their soups. Their soup of the day changes every day, but it's always solid and it's often a very healthy choice in an American culinary culture that usually values huge portion sizes slathered in butter. River City Bistro lost some of their rustic charm when they moved into their new location, but it won't stop me from visiting more in the future. Use of space. River City Bistro is in a multi-use development that successfully built new structures over their excess parking with great success. The downside is they don't seem to be leasing out any of their vacants, so the city is probably subsidizing their infrastructure with all of these empty parking spots. Once they demo and rebuild, this location could be an urbanist's dream. Number 4. Patrick's. I don't know what to call Patrick's. Is it a restaurant? Is it fast food? It's a burger joint, and it's amazing for it. I can't tell what it is that they do. Is it the seasoning, quality of the product, the freshness? I think it's got to be all of the above. I'm not really good at talking about food, but you have to trust me as someone who has traveled the length and breadth of the land. Patrick's burgers are top-notch and worth a special visit to Portsmouth. Use of space. Patrick's is in a strip retail center. There's no bike parking, and the development does seem to have a bit of excess parking at times. The city could connect people to the development better by way of a trail in this area, so citizens who cycle or walk aren't forced to use Rogers Avenue. Number 3. Stonehouse Chaffee Crossing. Stonehouse recently underwent a major change by hiring a new executive chef, and I think it's for the better. There were some hiccups at first, but recently things have improved majorly, and the dining experience is better now than ever before. All steaks on the menu are USDA Prime or better, and they have Iberico pork, which is considered a luxury even in Western Europe where it originates. Iberico pork, or Iberian ham, is hard to find anywhere in this country, and it's even harder to find someone to cook it for you perfectly. Stonehouse also has the best craft cocktails in the city. If things at Stonehouse continue on the trajectory that they're on now, Stonehouse can be a #1 restaurant in the city or even the state. Use of space. Stonehouse could take better advantage of the fact that they're located on a major bicycle corridor with some bike parking. The city could also help the restaurant out a lot by helping to pedestrianize Wells Lake Road. Right now, it's a bicycle and walking corridor, but there aren't even any sharrows or a sidewalk. There's also no protected way to cross Mazard at this intersection. Either or both of these improvements could bring a lot of business to this restaurant from both of its adjacent neighborhoods. The patio is one of the best dining experiences in the city. When we built Chad Colley Boulevard, it turned Mazard into a major commuter corridor, and as land use patterns continue to promote developments that use Mazard to get residents to our central business district, I fear the outdoor dining at Stonehouse could be impacted by the traffic noise and the fumes. Number 2. Prima Italia. Prima Italia is a new addition to our city and has already captured my heart after just a single visit. I was astounded to see ossobuco on their menu, which I promptly ordered on site and enjoyed tremendously. Ossobuco is frequently made with veal, but Prima Italia makes it with pork, which would give me an A+ to them for their ethics, except veal is also on their menu in other dishes. Veal in general is a rarity in Arkansas, so if that is your thing, get it here. My partner didn't venture too far outside of her comfort zone and ordered the chicken Alfredo Primavera and loved it. Neither of us really have the taste to identify excellent or even good pasta, but we could taste a distinct elevated flavor from this. Use of space. Like Whippoorwill, Prima Italia is downtown and makes use of the traditional development patterns we have there. It's within walking distance of the downtown bus transfer station, and the city's free parking garage is also right behind it. It could use some bike parking. Honorable mentions. Here are some great restaurants in Fort Smith that I enthusiastically recommend, but haven't put in my top 10. Some of these have a good reason for not making the list, others just couldn't squeak by because of how I personally feel today. Sorry. Bruce Terry's, Rolando's, Vinny's Pies, George's, Benson's Grill, Pisces, Piatto, Uncorked, Calico County, Eunice's. Number 1. 21 West End. 21 West End combines the elegance and elevation of fine dining with the historic and Old West charm of Fort Smith. Their seasonal menu changes once every quarter, so there's always something new, blending their mastery of local ingredients with international inspiration. In particular, I recommend anything on their menu found in the ocean. I've had great success with their scallops and their fresh sea bass. Use of space. Like other downtown establishments, 21 West End does not have its own parking lot and therefore has a minimal infrastructure cost to the city. And they're right along our cycle trail and near a fantastic example of missing middle housing. There's also a nice handrail over at the Blue Lion across the street to use as bike parking. Thanks for watching. If you know of a good restaurant that wasn't anywhere on the list, let me know in the comments.